Good morning, everyone. This is Mr. Barth. I hope everyone is enjoying their snow/virtual day. I'm going to show you a different kind of one-step equation today. So far we have done multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. What I'm going to show you today is sort of a twist on one-step multiplication problems. Okay, so what I put down here, this is 7x equals 42. This is your typical one-step multiplication problem. So in this particular case, I would see that 7 was being multiplied by x. I'd ask myself, what's the opposite of multiplying? And I would divide. And I would divide both sides by 7. And the reason I would do that is so that these two 7s can cancel out or form a 1, if you will. Okay, and that's the same as 1x, which of course is the same as x. And now I have isolated my variable, which is my goal, and on the other side 42 divided by 7 is 6, and it's solved. Now that's your typical multiplication problem. Now something that you're going to run into once in a while is instead of having a whole number as a coefficient to your variable, you're going to run into a fractional coefficient. Okay, and that looks something like this. So if you might run into this, 3/5 x equals 12. Okay, now we could treat these two problems exactly the same. I could say, hey, this is being multiplied by 3/5, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3/5. Okay, but in reality, what happens when you divide by a fraction, if you remember a month or so back, you're really multiplying by the reciprocal. So on this side of the equation, I'm going to end up doing 12 times the reciprocal 3/5 is 5/3. Okay, and on this side, 3/5 divided by 3/5, that would be 1x. Okay, because anything divided by itself is 1. And so this is x. And on this side, I would do a little cancellation or simplifying before I multiply. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 12 4 times, and 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, now what I'm going to show you today is a little easier way than this over here, and it kind of looks like this. All right, so 3/5 x equals 12. And when I have a fractional coefficient, I can just multiply by the reciprocal immediately. I don't have to do all the division or write down the division. I'm immediately going to go to, hey, I'm going to multiply times 5/3 and multiply by 5/3. And the reason I'm doing that is because I know that reciprocals multiply to be 1, or they have a product of 1. So when I multiply 5/3 times 3/5, that's really 15/15, which, as you know, is a 1. So this is really 1x on this side, which of course is x, and I've isolated my variable, which was my goal. And on this side, we can do the exact same thing we did before. This comes out to be 20. Okay, so I'm going to show you this example a couple more times. I've always found that the nice part about this lesson is the kids feel really smart after they get it. All right, so I'm going to do 6 of these pretty quick. All right, I'll stop after a couple so you can try one by yourself. All right, so here's 6. 3/4 x equals 12. All right, well, to isolate my variable, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So my reciprocal is, some of you guys call them flipped fractions. So multiply by 4/3. Now over here, I can multiply this out if I want. I can make this 12/12x, which is 1x, which is x. Okay, and on this side, I'm going to do a little cancellation. 3 goes into that once, 3 goes into that 4 times, and 4 times 4 is 16 over 1, which is the same thing as 16. All right, let's try it one more time. I have a fractional coefficient, multiply by the reciprocal. Now I'm going to take out some of the busy work here. Okay, notice I'm still multiplying. I'm doing the same thing to both sides of the equation, so I keep my equation balanced. All right, Now, I'm not going to write this out this time. The reason I'm not going to write it out is because I know what this multiplies to be. This is going to be multiplied 20 over 20. The reason I'm doing it is so that I get 20 over 20. Okay, so these are going to cancel out. In other words, they're going to end up being 1y. So I'm just going to bring my y down. Then I just have to do this multiplication problem over here. All right, 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 20 5 times. And 5 times 5 is 25. Show it again here. All right, 2/7 m. I see my fractional coefficient, and I say, oh, I can multiply by the reciprocal. Here's the reciprocal. I have to do it on both sides. I have to multiply by the exact same thing. Don't forget that this 7/2 here, if I multiply it, I got to do the exact same thing over here. Now, these cancel out because that's going to be 14 over 14 or 1. And I get m equals. And let's see, before I do anything here, I'm going to simplify a little bit. 2 goes into that once. 2 goes into that 15 times. And 15 times 7 is 105. Here's one more. Fractional coefficient, multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, these turn out to be 1, or 45 over 45. And this is k equals, 5 goes into that once, 5 goes into 3 times 9 is 27. All right, here's one, I put it on the other side. So you might see this once in a while. Got the fractional coefficient on the right. So I'm still trying to get rid of this 4/3 because I want this variable by itself. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3/4. I like to, if it's a whole number on one side, I like to put it over 1, so I remember that I'm multiplying fractions. On the right-hand side here, this is going to be 12 over 12, 3 times 4, and 4 times 3, that's 12 over 12, so that's 1f, which is the same as f. I've isolated my variable. All right, on this side, before I multiply across, I might do a little reduction here. 4 goes into that once, and 4 goes into that 8 times. 3 times 8 is 24. Okay. Now I threw this one in here to let you know, all these examples that I've given here all come out to be whole numbers, and that really isn't the case. I just gave those examples so that you could do a little simplifying along the way. Sometimes that's not the case though, okay? So if I have this particular problem, I see my fractional coefficient is 3/8. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. That's 8/3 and 8/3. These cancel out because it's 24 over 24, and that's 1v. And on this side, I can't cancel anymore. It ends up coming out to be 1 times 8 is 8, and 3 times 3 is 9. So I just put that last one in there to make sure that you know that it doesn't always come out to it'll be a whole number, and you can't always reduce. Use this on your homework tonight. You have 8 problems, and have a great day.